Evening, folks. I'm the earnings bookie, and tonight's feature is Amazon 7/23 of '08. This is earnings announcement for Amazon. What we're looking at on the first screen here is our earnings notebook, which looks at the analytics of how earnings have affected the price action on Amazon in the past. The reason we picked Amazon is fairly obvious from what's on the screen here. It's one of the most consistent session-to-session performers, and it's compiled wider next day closing levels following 14 of its last 18 after hours earning events. The near term pattern is mixed, but we're going to keep an eye on this one, and let's have a look and see what happens. Just to give a little bit more data on our earnings analytics, and reminder for everybody, what we do here is we analyze the post and pre-market trading following earnings announcements, and then we follow the price action through into the next day. We analyze the previous price action for all the earnings periods, and that's where we come up with these statistics. And we're looking for consistency in price action. So here's the full data for long and short on Amazon. 83% of the times this stock follows through in the same direction but a close of the next day's regular session compared to extended hours effective close. Effective close is that period between the previous day's post-market and the following day's pre-market. Hope that makes sense. That's the period in between when the volume tends to dry up. As you can see in this particular case, Amazon has a consistent earnings reaction. Now this chart's a little small for you to see, but I'll run through the numbers on here. The most recent quarters that we had up here, Amazon was 5.2% down in its aftermarket trading following that earnings announcement, but it narrowed it to minus 4% down for the total. And the prior earnings before that, we had minus 11%, but that switched back the other way to plus 4.7%. Can't always win them all. Previous earnings announcements right across the screen on here are all favorable. Minus 10% in the after hours, followed by minus 12% in the follow through the next day. And back in July of '07, up 20% in the after hours and finished for up 24% overall. Prior to that, up 12% with a follow through to up 26%. And the one on the very far left is up 0.5% with a follow through of up 3.4%. So here's the earnings announcement as it came out on 7/23, about 15 minutes after the market closed. And shares were trading up in the post-market, gaining about 3.7%. So we would expect in looking at earning analytics that this stock will continue through in the same direction in the following trading day. And down the bottom there we have 7/24. This is at 10/22 in trading day, so it's only an hour after the market opened. As we note here, one of the few bright spots, it was up 13%. So it followed through, just as our earning analytics odds had predicted it would. Just to show you here, this is something we like to show occasionally, is a real-time chart of what Amazon did during that period. This period is encompassing from 7/23 through 7/24. And what you can see is in the middle of the chart here, the price action where it sort of fades out is where the effective close is, where all those little dots are in the middle there. Prior to that, on the left, I've marked Amazon shares are trading up in the post-market, gaining 3.7%. And that's right after the earnings announcement. The price action continued up for a little bit further and then flattened out during the effective close. There was good pre-market volume, and then there was follow through in the regular market. So you can see all that. And this is a 5-minute bar chart, by the way. Just a note here of some ideas on how to trade this. Another note again, we are not advisors in any way, but this is something that I would consider for myself. You have to make your own trading decisions. You can buy at the open or in the late pre-market once the volume's there. And that would have been in the 75, 76 range when we were looking at this. Protective stops are at 75. And just in case, because the last 2 quarters there's been a narrowing of its price pattern following the pre-market move. Trailing stops are good, or whatever stops you like to put in. With this type of trade, exiting the close at the end of the day is really what we're talking about, because that's where our analytics run through. The gain for by the end of the day was about 7%. Not bad for a day. Here's another one we're going to look at. Earnings notebook on SIMG from 724. Silicon Image was due to report after the bell on 724. And the last 2 quarters we tracked, it's widened its moves 7 times. I'm sorry, the last 2 years we tracked, while narrowing its next day share reaction once. So this is a pretty good odds-on favorite for it to continue to follow through after its after-markets move. Here's the full data long and short. This is through the third quarter of 2007, so this is looking a little further back in time. And 80% of the time it followed through in the same direction by the close on the next day. And the big figure here, of course, is it closed further through in the same direction by an average of 7.8%. So there's a good chance that this one will extend its move. Here's my favorite chart again. This one shows the reactions on the previous quarters. The first number down the bottom there is up 1.7% in after hours and followed through with 4.6% for the total gain. The next one back is 0.2% down with a follow through of minus 4.5% down. Again, this is just one day. The next one before that was a huge one, minus 4.4% down in the after hours, with a total loss at the end of the next trading day of minus 25%. And you go back, the next one is minus 7%, and it followed through in the next trading day, minus 25%. Huge gains, one day. And back prior before that, minus 4.1%, with a follow through to minus 6.3%. And there's the one bad guy on the far left there, up 5% in the after hours. And then it completely flipped the other way and ended up 24% down after that. And of course, that's why we have protective stops. If you're trading, that's one of the things you have to consider. So this was the earnings reaction after that announcement on 7/24. And again, we don't particularly care about what the earnings mean and all those numbers. All we care is what happened. And as you can see there was a thin after trading volume around about 7.2, although it kind of came back down to 6.7, 6.8 range right before the market opened with good volume, and then it followed through all the way to the end of the market close up to about 7.26. So again, it followed through pretty well. Again, we don't dispense advice here. We're not advisors or brokers of any sort. This is just how I traded it. By the open or the late pre-market in the 6.7 to 6.85 range. Tight protective stops in case it swings against you. And again, I like a good trading stop following up on the when the move goes in my favor. And of course, I've got to get out by the end of the day or close to the end of the day, which I did on this one. Gain of 5 to 7% for the day. So that's a couple of stocks from that 7/24 period, Amazon and SIMG. I hope you find this helpful, and we'll be doing more of these.